Hi everyone, let's talk about Railroad Evolution. Expansion for Railroad Revolution, which I did a playthrough for, 2016, did that come out? 2017? 2017, I think. It was just a fantastic game. I raved about it back then, and it's always had this kind of shadow following it around that, the Telegraph strategy of just getting a load of officers in Telegraph and shooting up the performance track for Telegraph was way too powerful. And, I don't feel qualified myself to have played it enough and know enough about the variations and stuff to be able to contribute to that discussion. But, yeah, enough people said it that I think, there's something to it, isn't there? But this expansion not only adds some fresh things to it, but completely does away with pretty much everything that everyone had a problem with. And so surely this is just a fantastic expansion. It's another expansion where I can't imagine playing the game without it. That you already had, some kind of control over your destiny in those performance tracks, which you chose to go up and how high you went up them would affect your multiplier for scoring, stations and rails and the telegraph offices. So now that is done away with, but instead we have these performance tiles that kind of zero in on a more specific thing on stations you've built in certain numbered cities, or the number of rails you've got out onto the board, or the particular letters of milestones you've completed. There's all of this variation in there. And there's a lot of different ones that can come out in different positions. And so you've got all of these different scoring criteria now that you are, building a path towards to collect. The performance track now is a straight up race to get to these tiles, the way you can just get reward tiles with benefits of stations and rails in particular places. But also these performance tiles, these scoring things themselves. And then added into that, it's just progression up one track now. So the rest of your experience points, they're not experience points, but yeah, for the purposes of keeping going, even though I've hung it up now, the rest of the experience points are spent leveling up those performance tiles. And that creates another thing of, you can't really be sure how everything's going to go. They're only like guides for how your gameplay is going to go in the very beginning stages. And as you get a picture of what you have been most effective at and which you want to level up the most, you then have this extra puzzle in that you've got a grid of these performance tracks and you can't just skip over them or move diagonally unless it's at the very top space. But usually, other tiles are getting in the way that you got earlier and now you're not so bothered about. And so it's a puzzle of how you're going to maneuver all of these to make the most out of your performance tiles. And then the Western Union, the telegraph offices, score in a completely different way. So deals have been taken off there. So deals happen less often. They only happen when you're putting them out on the board. Or, for you personally, if you use the grey worker on the deal space. Deals happen less often. But the telegraph offices now, instead of, they used to just reward you with straight points for having adjacent telegraph offices. Now, they reward you for particular levels of cities. So that, in combination with the random amount of points that it is for that particular connection, and the randomly placed powers for discard a worker to get this really nice thing, and one of them won't come out each game now because there's fewer telegraph officers. I think that makes that a more interesting and exciting prospect. And then you've got the wagons as well, that when you are doing trading, which you're going to have to do to get money, now you can pick up these wagons and tenders that you can attach to your trains and get a more personalized, a much more varied bonus from flipping trains. And it's not just about that initial benefit that you're getting, even though that's still the strongest thing that you're getting in there. There are some fantastic things in there, like from just basic things that in the playthrough, like get a share and bring all of your workers back. That's a nice little extra thing. Or be able to promote workers no matter what color they are, and you have to pay 100, and it's only going to happen as often as you can activate that train. But suddenly that is a big restriction that's taken off just for you, or being able to get extra workers from it. Or other ones that didn't come out in the playthrough are, like being able to swap rails around and swap stations and telegraph offices around, which is massively effective because usually there's no way of doing that. And some things that you've built, you're so limited to the number of rails and buildings that you've got that some things that you went for earlier on, you're now wishing you hadn't done because this thing that you are one rail short of is now unreachable for you. But if you had that power of swapping things around, then you can reverse it all. I think that, yeah, everything that's added, the things that they tweaked in the performance tracks and the telegraph offices, massive improvements, and yeah, I loved it already. And then the extra stuff from the wagons, customizing the trains and everything, the different startup things with your performance tiles. Yeah, it's just all absolutely fantastic. As I said, I can't imagine playing the game without this now, although I'm still too panicked about actually getting rid of, the original board or something like that, even though the box is quite tightly packed now. But yeah, just a massive difference. And unlike a lot of expansions, I usually say, if you didn't like the original game, you're probably not going to like this. Well, I think if you had problems with, those tracks and the telegraph offices and things in the original game, you may want to try and get this played if you know someone or a game cafe with a copy, because yeah, it does really change it up a lot. And I think that with the cities and the powers and things, it already had variability going for it, but yeah, even more so now. Everything has been amped up in it, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. But it was a fantastic game to begin with, so yeah, even more so. Brilliant. If you'd like to see more playthroughs, I've done hundreds on this channel, and you can check some out. One will be recommended to you by automatic demons. Well, not demons, I assume angels. But Zhanguo is another great game from the same designers as Railroad Revolution. Haven't done a playthrough for that one myself yet, but maybe when the expansion eventually makes it to Kickstarter, we will do something for that. Maybe. Thanks for watching though, and I'll see you for the next game. Bye everyone.